Hi friends, welcome back. It's so nice to see you again. If you're here, that means that you're getting ready with me today, sipping on a nice drink and hearing about another story. Okay, so before we get started, it is summertime and in a few days, Love Island will be released, and it does have me thinking about Caroline Flack. Now, if you guys don't know who Caroline Flack is, she is the original and ex-host of Love Island. So today's story, which I usually do true crime for, would be more of a documented story about her. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, to start, I do want to confirm that the story is not meant to be dramatic or invasive. It's going to be about public pressure and media attention that started to impact Caroline's mental health and why her story matters to this day. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I am going to start with my hair today, and I'll go ahead and introduce my drink. Okay, I have delicious pink lemonade in this mason jar. So cute. You guys know how I'm obsessed with this thing. So we're gonna go ahead, pour some. So I have my cute little cup here, and let's go ahead and, doesn't that look so good? Okay, let's go ahead and take a little sip. It's a little sour to start, but I think it's perfect for the summertime. It's so delicious, giving me Love Island vibes for sure. Okay, so now that you guys have your drink and you're getting ready with me, I do want to start with Caroline Flack, that she was a British television presenter and she was a very popular media personality, and she was just overall really charismatic, funny, and very well liked. And I agree. She would come on screen, or whenever I would see her, she just had that personality where you're like, I like her, and you can't exactly pinpoint why. And you just wanted to keep hanging out with her, and she just was a really beautiful person. It also seems that when she would pop up on TV, she just had one of those faces where she was just easily recognizable. But behind all of that public presence, she did still kind of dealt with a lot of pressure of the fame and tabloids. Now, if you don't know what tabloids are, they are this cycle of scrutiny in the UK where technically everything that a celebrity would do is always consistently a headline. Oh no, this is not as tight as I want it. Oh, all right. I did have to fix this off camera, but I'm gonna pinpoint this here because it won't stop moving. But going back to Caroline Flack, one thing that I found out by doing research, and this is when worlds start to collide, because she managed to get her break in 2002 by featuring on Michael Jackson's show where they introduced his monkey. Have you guys heard about this? Alrighty, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that she featured on that show. She played a version of it on a show called Bo Selecta, which is like a kind of like a comedic sketch kind of thing, but she carried on to start present music and sport related shows, like the International Pepsi show and Fash FC. And Fash FC is one of those football challenge shows where I guess like the football players try to get better in playing or better in shape, etc. And of course, all the men on the team adored her and they all agreed that she was very beautiful. Okay, so now that she's starting to look pretty darn impressive, she did co-host Love Island between 2011 and 2013. Now, if you guys don't know what X Factor is a UK version of American Idol. And if you guys don't know, One Direction is this big giant group band. I hope you guys know who they are. If you know, you know. They won back in 2010, and this is when my world started getting collided, because she briefly dated Harry Styles, and she even went on to briefly date Prince Harry. So this really was, Caroline was really a woman that you could not miss in the media. All right, before we get ready into the timeline of Love Island, a little fun fact about me is that actually I love the show so much that I actually applied when I turned 18. And of course I didn't get on the show, but I did get a proper rejection letter, which was still cool to get. But Caroline started presenting ITV's Love Island in 2015, and with just her being the host, it did attract up to 4 million viewers by the time it was 2018, making this the most watched show on the channel. Okay, I think I'm gonna start removing my eye patches. I don't know if you guys remember the show, but it was just so good, you know, the drama with the boys. It was just so funny too, and I particularly really like the UK version over the US version. You guys can tear me up in the comments, but I think that I will be sticking with that show for this summer for sure. Also, I don't know how they do it out there with the heat. Like, oh my God. I think I might even want to put my hair up, especially if it's going to be like 103 today. Before we move on to the timeline a little bit, I do want to add that there had been many things that Caroline did that I did not mention in today's video because she is just overall impressive and she really did work or build her career over time because she had won many dancing competitions. She had hosted different children's shows, game shows, sports shows, and she just really had built a name for herself, especially, of course, with the media, and she was just very well known. Another fun fact that I want to add about Love Island that I had learned was that Love Island actually started back in 2005 and not 2015, as I may know it, you may know it. And it was just a different concept. It was a lot more normal people, meaning they just weren't overall this very attractive, fit people. They were not all living in the same home. They were like in different sections, and it just didn't really exceed during that time. But they changed the concept, of course, a little bit, and they had thought that they needed a big media personality, and that's how Caroline came to get the job. But pretty crazy to think that the show had actually been much older than me and you thought. Alrighty, so moving on from the fun facts, I think we're ready to step into today's timeline, which will actually begin in late of 2019, where Caroline was involved in a legal case related to an alleged incident that involved her partner at the time. So Caroline Flack had been charged with assault by beating her boyfriend, and the case had become extremely public almost immediately. Now, one thing I want you guys to remember is just this one point that the details were heavily discussed in the media before everything could be fully resolved in court. So now with this story out there in early 2020, Caroline ended up stepping down as the host of Love Island. But from there, things had become much more intense in media coverage and in the public's commentary. I don't know if you guys can actually see this, but in case you're curious on what I'm putting on my eye, it is so very baby pink eyeshadow. You can't really tell on camera, but just in case you guys are wondering, we're like, oh, she's not putting anything on. It's very baby pink eyeshadow. So I don't know if you guys remember, and you guys should, when I told you in the beginning about tabloids, but of course, she had been the eye of the tabloids, and she was just not only being reported on to, she was being heavily criticized and discussed online. I don't really recall this, in my personal opinion, what I had seen, but I mean, I could imagine that she was the main topic. So before the incident, you guys, Caroline and her boyfriend had been in a really short relationship. They were only together about 6 months when they had occurred. Family and friends did report that they did have an emotional connection, but they did tend to move things really quickly. I don't know exactly what that means, but we can kind of guess that they were probably wanting to move in together already, talking about marriage, things like that. Another thing that family and friends would discuss is that they thought that they had a dramatic age gap. Caroline was 40 at the time, and her boyfriend, Louis Burton, was only about 29 years old. And not only family and friends would consider this a bad idea or a huge age gap, the public and media also consider this off-putting. Oh, okay. I just saw myself in the mirror and I'm like, I'm really one of those girls that does not change when they do their makeup. It's a little disappointing, but I just want my makeup to pop, you know? Like, oh, who's that? Like, she changed. If you know, you know. Anyway, so back on topic, the relationship did become a big part of public conversation, and this is when things start getting really intense, media scrutiny and how someone is in the public eye. And of course, this is the reason why Caroline had decided to step down from hosting Love Island. And a lot of the discussion online became, is Caroline really like this in real life? She's putting on a face for us. Or they were in denial of like, no, this could not be her. She's so sweet and heartfelt, and this is just not possible. But you're right, maybe we are being lied to, etc. And of course, I can only imagine how this really started to impact Caroline. So even though Caroline decided to step away from the public eye, it still made her the main hot topic in the media. And this is just how things just started getting pretty intense, very critical, very personal. Her family and friends started mentioning how she would just cry and not text them back, ignore them, would not go out for days, just that type of behavior. And they really started to get worried about Caroline. Now, we're going to get a little bit into the details of what the actual incident is. I did just kind of want to keep it more on topic about Caroline because we won't know the exact truth of what happened between the couple on that day, but I can at least let you know in reports and what was on the media that her boyfriend had ended up calling the police because Caroline had hurt him. Now, he didn't specify how and when this had like really occurred, but of course it was in the moment. Police did come, and you can go ahead and look up online and find audio or even just reports of what was said. But the boyfriend had reported that he did get hit by Caroline with a lamp, and the lamp was found at their home, broken on the ground, and her boyfriend was bleeding from the head. And when she did get confronted by police, she did start crying and blurting out about that she admitted that she did do it. There had been a lot of more things that came out later in documentaries, but just in the moment of the media, it really did seem just like someone who went ahead and just beat her boyfriend, based on counts of them thinking that maybe she was being cheated on, things like that. But we'll find out later in documentaries that I'll go ahead and link below, you guys can watch, that her family and friends think that it may have been something else completely different. Kind of want to do my eyeliner different today, but we all know that's not the truth. We're probably going to end up doing the same look, which is fine. But I think we'll go ahead and start. I'm about to start my second one, and I'm getting pretty darn nervous because I'm pretty OCD about them matching. I want them to be twins. I don't know how some girls do their eyeliner on camera. I'm pretty nervous right now. Okay, I'm done. Are they twins? Don't lie to me. I'll know if you lied. Okay, just one last look. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take just a little breather before I let you guys know what the next thing in the timeline. But unfortunately, in February of 2020, Caroline Flack died by suicide at the age of 40. The aftermath of the moment was a massive conversation in the UK about media pressure and online commentary. And I just have no words. It's mainly just this, that she's not a headline. She wasn't just a TV host. She was genuinely a person who was under constant pressure. And it's just pretty saddening about how this had driven her to her decision. It's very unfortunate. So yes, her story really does force people to think about how fast things can spread online and how heavy it can be for someone living in the middle of it. And at the time when I had found out about her death, I was in denial. If you guys go ahead and research her story or did not know that this is what had happened to the Caroline in being as the host of Love Island, a lot of people were in denial, where there had been like some conspiracy theories going around with the boyfriend, or with what the media had led on about her death, etc. It was really private, or at least the family wanted to fight to keep that private. And just like many other fans or many other people, it was very, I'm lost for words. It was just very sad. It seemed like the UK had really lost a big person who was honestly the face of the celebrity tier kind of situation. And my heart, of course, goes out to her family. It's really sad to have lost just a grand person. And she will genuinely be someone that I will truly miss, as I will continue watching on the show. I cannot help but think about her ever so often, and just this grand loss. So yes, that is why I wanted to talk to her about today. This video did start off as a get ready with me video. but her story just felt important to include while I'm going on a Love Island binge. I had not followed up on the story for several years because there had been many different resources or articles at the time of what was going on with her story that I had not wanted to follow up until everything was clear. And I am somewhat, I guess, relieved that it wasn't more towards the conspiracy that something may have happened to her, even though of course that is just still as hurtful. But yes, I highly recommend you guys watch her documentary on Hulu that her family and friends had advocated for her. They advocate, of course, for suicide awareness and allowing the resources and just overall spreading the message that, of course, just like they always say, you are not alone. You can always reach out to someone that you trust, and that, yes, a lot of things with media can kind of twist things around. And I think that is it on overall for Caroline Flack. And I think we're gonna go ahead and switch topics before we get a little bit too emotional. So I have not done my hair in one of these in a long time. I'm actually genuinely curious how the results will come out to be. All right, I hope you guys had a lot of fun with me. Definitely made my day go by. It is such a hot day. I still have some of my lemonade I'm enjoying with you guys. I'm excited for the premiere of the show. I don't know a lot about the contestants, which I kind of have to study on a little bit, but how did the curls come out? All right, how do the curls look? I think they need some adjusting, but I think overall this look came out to be really cute. Again, I had so much fun hanging out with you guys. You guys are truly loved, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Please have a nice day, weekend, week, and everything, and I will go ahead and be joining you guys watching Love Island if you guys are going to go ahead and watch in a couple of days that it comes out. And let's go ahead and talk in the comments and spread some love. I really love you guys and hope you guys had fun.